Chosen one. There's a step in front of you. And you know exactly which one I'm talking about. I don't need to describe it. The moment I said those words, something inside you recognized it. That step. The one you've been thinking about for weeks, maybe months, maybe even years. The one that keeps showing up in your mind when everything gets quiet. You think about it in the morning before the distractions begin. And you think about it again at night, when the noise of the day finally fades away. You've imagined taking that step 1,000 times. You've planned it, prepared for it, built entire futures around it in your mind. Beautiful futures. Hope-filled futures. Futures where you finally moved forward, and everything changed. But every time you got close, something stopped you. Not a lack of opportunity. Not a lack of resources. Not a lack of connections. Not even a lack of ability. Something inside you held you back. A quiet voice that kept asking, what if it doesn't work? What if you're not ready? What if people watch you fail? What if you risk everything and end up disappointed again? And so you stayed where you were. Not because you quit. Not because you stopped believing. But because fear disguised itself as wisdom. And when you're standing in front of something that truly matters, fear and wisdom can sound almost identical. But God sent this message today because He wants you to see something differently. The money you've been praying for. The breakthrough you've been waiting for. The provision that always seems just out of reach. Isn't lost. It isn't being withheld. And it isn't forgotten. It's attached to something. Attached to the very step you've been avoiding. Not because God is punishing you. Not because heaven is testing you. But because the step and the provision were designed to work together. One unlocks the other. And heaven has been waiting for you to move. Beloved, there is something most people misunderstand about financial breakthrough. They think the process is simple. Pray, believe, receive. And sometimes that's true. But there are blessings that don't arrive through waiting alone. Some blessings are released through movement. Some doors only open when you start walking toward them. Some provision only appears after you take the first step. And when you look back at the biggest breakthroughs in your own life, wasn't movement always involved? A decision, a conversation, a risk, a new skill, a door you chose to walk through. The provision came through the movement, not before it. And that's the pattern God is showing you today. It starts to feel like pressure, like exposure, like suddenly being responsible for something you do not yet know how to manage. And God loves you too much to release what you are not ready to hold. That is why He attached the provision to the step. Because the step is not just the path to the money. The step is the development of the person who will be trusted with what the money carries. Every time you take a step toward your purpose, toward the thing God placed inside you, toward the work that was written into your design before the world convinced you to be practical instead, you are not just moving toward provision. You are becoming the person who can sustain it, the person who can manage it wisely, the person who can multiply it instead of consuming it, the person who can be trusted with more. Because the step proves something. It reveals your willingness to move in obedience even when the outcome is not yet visible. And now, I need to speak directly to the fear that has been keeping you from taking that step. Because it has a name. And its name is not wisdom. It is not discernment. It is not patience. It is not waiting for the perfect time. Its name is fear. More specifically, fear of being seen trying. This is the fear hiding beneath all the others. Beneath the fear of failure is the fear of visible failure. Beneath the fear of it not working is the fear of people watching it not work. Beneath the hesitation to begin is the fear of beginning publicly and falling short publicly. Because then you would have to live in the same spaces as the people who watched you try. And that fear is powerful, especially because you have tried before. And something happened. Maybe things did not work out the way you planned. Maybe someone said something that planted a seed of doubt. A seed that has been growing quietly ever since. Maybe you watched someone else attempt something similar and struggle. And instead of learning, they gained experience. Fear whispered something different. Fear said, "See what happens when people like us try." And that seed, that deeply planted, carefully watered seed of doubt, became an invisible fence between you and the step. But God sees that fence. He has seen every moment you approached it. Every time excitement rose inside you, only to collide with fear. Every time possibility appeared, and fear convinced you to retreat. He saw it all. And he is not standing on the other side of the fence with crossed arms, waiting for you to figure it out alone. He is standing beside you, right here, right now. And he is saying something that has the power to tear down everything fear has been building. Listen carefully. The outcome of the step is not your responsibility. The step is your responsibility. Only the step. The results belong to him. The timing belongs to him. The doors that open because of your obedience belong to him. The connections that appear once you begin moving belong to him. The opportunities that become visible the moment you stop standing still belong to him. And the provision attached to that step has already been prepared. It is not dependent on you being perfect. It is not dependent on you having every answer. It is not dependent on the absence of fear. It is not dependent on complete confidence. And it is certainly not dependent on knowing exactly how everything will turn out. It is dependent on one thing: movement. Faithful movement. Imperfect movement. Fear-accompanied movement. But movement nonetheless. Moving in the direction of the very thing you have been avoiding because it matters too much to risk getting wrong. And here is what God needs you to understand. The things that matter too much to risk are often the very things worth risking for. The step that terrifies you is terrifying for a reason. It is connected to something real inside you. Something God placed there himself. And fear always gathers around the things that carry the greatest weight. Because darkness understands something your hesitation has been hiding from you. What happens when you take this step is not just about personal provision. It is bigger than that. It is the beginning of something that extends far beyond your current financial situation. What God has attached to your step is not just enough for you. It is enough to impact the people around you. Enough to become a testimony. Enough to inspire someone else to move. Enough to open a door that creates a path for those who are waiting behind you. Because someone has to go first. And you were meant to be that person. The provision waiting on the other side of your obedience was never meant for you alone. Chosen one. This is the moment where your timeline begins to change. You are standing at the edge of the diving board. Behind you is the life of survival. The life of constantly scraping by. The life of checking your bank account with anxiety sitting in your stomach. But in front of you is the open air of faith. Terrifying. Beautiful. Unlimited. And the step you keep avoiding has never been just about money. Money is not the point. Money is paper. Money is numbers on a screen. God can provide money in 1,000 different ways. Provision is the easy part for heaven. The real reason God is calling you forward is because he is trying to restore something deeper. He is restoring your identity. He is breaking the mindset that has kept you small. The mindset that says you must always settle, always struggle, always survive. But God did not create you merely to survive. He created you to inherit, to steward, to lead, to carry influence, to become a blessing to others. Because when God places resources in your hands, he already knows your heart. He knows you want to help your family. He knows you want to lift others up. He knows you want your life to matter. But authority comes before increase. And authority is activated through action. Not hesitation. Not endless preparation. Action. So right now, I want you to receive this message with an open heart. Let every excuse fall away. Let every argument fear has built inside your mind lose its power. And hear this clearly. The spirit of hesitation does not get the final word over your life. The spirit of procrastination does not get the final word over your life. Fear does not get the final word over your life. God does. The confusion that has surrounded your next step is lifting. The uncertainty is lifting. The fog is lifting. And clarity is coming. You will know what to do. And when you know, you will move. Not because fear disappeared, but because faith became stronger. I believe that when you take that step of obedience, doors will begin to open. Opportunities will begin to appear. Connections will begin to align. Resources will begin to flow in ways you could not have predicted. Not because everything suddenly becomes easy, but because movement creates momentum. And momentum creates opportunities that standing still never could. Listen to me, chosen one. You are not going under. You are not destined to fail. And you are not about to embarrass yourself by obeying God. You are becoming a testimony, a living example of what happens when someone stops listening to fear and starts trusting their Father. So if this message spoke directly to your spirit, subscribe and stay connected to this community. Let these messages continue strengthening your faith as you step into this new season. And before you leave, think about someone who is standing where you once stood. Someone who is scared. Someone who is doubting. Someone who is one decision away from giving up. Share this message with them. You never know whose breakthrough might begin because you chose to encourage them. Chosen one. The waiting room is closed. The runway is clear. Take the step. Move forward. Trust God with the outcome. And remember, heaven is cheering you on.